fabled heat, where magic meets desire. Subscribe to ignite the fantasy.
The air hung thick and heavy, a cloying sweetness battling with the acrid bite of charred wood. It wasn't a natural scent, this smoke. Beneath the familiar smell of burning timber lay something indefinably sinister, a metallic tang like old blood and ozone that mingled with the heady, almost overwhelming scent of Reese's arousal. It was a dangerous combination, a primal call to instinct that warred with the dread tightening in my chest. I stood swallowed by the restless crowd, a sea of faces contorted with righteous fury and morbid fascination. My fingers dug into the rough, scratchy wool of my cloak, seeking a grounding point in the chaos. Each press of the throng was a suffocating weight, a violation of personal space, but Reese's presence beside me was a shield, a solid wall against the encroaching madness, a promise of protection and something far, far more. Before us, lashed tightly to the weathered stake, stood old Maggie. The wood groaned under the strain of her bonds, a mournful sound that echoed the despair in her eyes. Her face, a roadmap of a lifetime etched with wrinkles and hardship, was pale in the flickering torchlight, almost translucent. They called her a witch, a harbinger of ill fortune, the root of Blackwood's recent misfortunes, the blighted crops, the failing livestock, the unsettling string of disappearances. But I remembered her kindness. I remembered the small, intricately carved wooden bird she'd given me when I was a child, a bird that felt warm to the touch, almost alive. I remembered the whispered tales she'd shared, stories of a time when magic wasn't feared but revered, when the veil between worlds was thin and easily crossed. And I remembered the unsettlingly intense way she'd looked at me on those occasions, a gaze that seemed to pierce through my defenses and see something hidden deep within. It wasn't a malicious look, not exactly, but knowing, calculating. The memory of that day, the day they dragged her from her cottage, the day the flames first licked at the dry wood beneath her feet, still haunted my waking hours and bled into my dreams. It wasn't just the horror of the spectacle I remembered, the crackling fire, the billowing smoke, the desperate, animalistic screams that tore through the night. It was the way Kalen had appeared, seemingly from nowhere, a dark god descending from the shadows. He hadn't ridden in on a horse, hadn't walked through the crowd. He'd simply been there, a figure of impossible grace and terrifying power. His eyes, the color of a stormy sea, burned with an ancient energy that both terrified and intrigued me. A dangerous, forbidden intrigue. He'd saved me from the worst of the crowd, his hand firm on my arm, not restraining me but guiding me back, away from the heat and the frenzy. His touch, even through the thick wool of my sleeve, had sent a jolt through my veins, a shock of awareness that left me breathless and trembling. It wasn't a comforting touch, but a claiming one. Her final words, rasped through the smoke and pain, echoed in my mind, a chilling prophecy. A curse upon you all, may your days be filled with unending misery. May your harvests fail, your children sicken, and your hearts know only despair. The crowd, fueled by fear and superstition, celebrated, oblivious to the true weight of her curse. They saw only a dying woman's rage, a final, desperate attempt to cling to power. But I saw the flicker of recognition in Kalen's eyes, a subtle shift in his expression that betrayed his understanding. And I saw the subtle tightening of Reese's jaw, the clenching of his fist at his side. They both knew this wasn't just a dying woman's rage, it was a promise, a binding ancient promise, and I was caught between them, a pawn in a game I didn't understand yet desperately wanted to play, a game where the stakes were my heart and my soul. The scent of wood smoke and something else, something distinctly male, Reese's musk, overlaid with a darker, more potent scent I instinctively associated with Kalen, filled my lungs, and a shiver traced its way down my spine. It wasn't a shiver of cold, but of anticipation, of a dangerous awareness. I felt their gazes on me, assessing, desiring, weighing my worth. Reese's gaze was possessive, protective, a silent claim. Kalen's was calculating, predatory, as if he were dissecting my very being. He wasn't looking asterisk at asterisk me, he was looking asterisk through asterisk me, searching for something hidden within. I could feel the heat of his scrutiny, the weight of his power. Reese shifted slightly, his arm brushing against mine. A small gesture, but it sent a wave of warmth through my body, a comforting anchor in the storm. He murmured something low, too quiet for the crowd to hear, but I felt the vibration against my skin. "Stay close," he breathed, his voice rough with suppressed emotion. "Don't meet his eyes." But I couldn't help myself. My gaze drifted, drawn inexorably towards Kalen. He was watching me, a slow, deliberate smile curving his lips. It wasn't a friendly smile. It was a promise of things to come, a hint of the darkness that lay beneath his captivating exterior. He raised his hand, a single, elegant gesture, and my breath hitched in my throat. It wasn't a wave, not a greeting. It was an invitation. I knew with a certainty that stole my breath and left me trembling that my life would never be the same. Old Maggie's curse wasn't just a threat to Blackwood, it was a catalyst, a turning point, and I unknowingly was at the center of it all. The flames roared higher, consuming Maggie's body, but I felt a different kind of fire igniting within me, a fire of curiosity, of fear, and of a dangerous, undeniable attraction to the two men who held my fate in their hands. The air crackled with energy, with unspoken desires and hidden agendas. I was a moth drawn to a flame, and I knew, with a terrifying clarity, that I was about to get burned.